We acknowledge that Tri-Cities Community Television operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them along with the waters and all that is above and below.
Hi everyone, it's Cathy, host with Tracey's Community Television, and today we are at the Poirier Library, and we'd like to thank them for donating this space to us. We continue with our candidate series, and with me today is Tracey Schaeffer. She's running for the election in the fall in Port Moody as a city councillor. Welcome to the studio, Tracey. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. Why are you running as a city councillor for Port Moody?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I'm running because I feel I can add, first of all, a level of coolness to the structure, and I also feel that I have an ability to problem solve. That through my work with TV and working in Japan as a teacher and working in Vancouver as a language teacher, I really have a way of communicating, and I feel like I could add myself into the conversation. Mm-hmm. I also feel that as much as I love Port Moody, there are some gaps.
Okay.
And I would really like to sort of stress certain concepts, like I really do believe in a 15-minute city, and what that means is it's a concept where we believe that everyone should be able to get all the services they need within a 15-minute commute without a car. And what that's going to mean is that we need to make sure that around all these hubs where we're having these buildings being constructed, we also have the services that people need, not just the services that can afford to stay there. So I want to try to push an agenda that will allow for stores and services that people need every day, dry cleaning, convenience stores, restaurants, things that people need. And I also believe that as a city, we need to find ways to find third spaces. And third spaces are basically places where people can go to be that are free. Because what I found is that there's no place to go without paying for a cup of coffee or food in a restaurant, which is fair, which is something we need. But as a city, we can't really come together unless we can come together for free. So maybe we have to find parks that have washrooms and water and things that will allow them to stay for a long time so people can sort of gather, have a picnic, stay there for 5 hours and not have to worry about finding a bathroom or a water fountain.
Right.
And all of our community parks should have these utilities there. And that's sort of where I want to sort of see what I can do to work. And I also think that we are not pushing the tourism point of view in terms of business. I think that Port Moody has so much to offer. And we have artists that can produce beautiful things. And we do have festivals, but we aren't really creating them in such a way that people know to come to the smaller festivals. And I would really like to see a sort of cohesive tourist plan, which I know the city is working on. I do want to make sure that that comes out. So I want to try to add my 2 cents into that conversation.
Well, they did just open up a visitor center at the Port Moody Arts Center, so that is a move in the right direction for your plan and agenda. What do you think the one issue that you believe matters most to Port Moody residents?
Divisiveness. Part of community building isn't building community around anger. It's building community around problem solving. And how do we do that? So what I would like to do is I would like to open up more communication with the community, but in a problem solving point of view. Like some of the best town halls that I participated in as a resident were town halls where we all got together in small groups and we started to problem solve on small mundane issues, but working with people that you've never worked with before, part of the community, and trying to make things better for the community. So there's ownership and there's buy-in and there's people coming together to make our home better.
Okay, that's great. If elected, what are your top 3 priorities for Port Moody?
They're the same.
Same, okay.
I really do believe that although I might not always be able to vote the way that people feel I should vote, I want to be honest with everyone, and I want everyone to know that I will take the time to speak to them and to try to communicate why I made a decision I made, and also advocate for them, which is why I'm standing alone. I don't necessarily believe the party system is a way to go at this level, because I always want to be accountable to the people that elected me, and it's very difficult to do that through a filter of an agenda from an outside source. So my goal is to stay open.
Okay. So housing's been a major concern. People could say this is a provincial issue, it's a federal issue. How do you think that we can balance growth and affordability by protecting Port Moody's character?
That is a challenging question. I think the challenge that we have is making sure that we have spaces that are secure. So we need to make sure that the historical spaces that we have remain open and viable. And what I mean by that is we have a beautiful space, Queen Elizabeth Center area there. It's beautiful, it's historical, but we need to make sure it stays vibrant. So maybe we should be using the tourist angle. Maybe we should be creating something. I love this area in Winnipeg called the Forks. And it was a project that took 20 or 30 years to come together. And it's this huge park. And it worked with the Indigenous population. It worked with business. And it created a park around a theme for bringing people together. And it's became a focal point for the entire city. And there's a beautiful market. And it's just about bringing people together. And I would really like to see something like that, a project with business, with the city, with other areas around the city and the region, and trying to create a tourist area as well.
Okay, great. What are your thoughts on density development and the infrastructure and being able to keep up with the pace?
Another challenging question. I think that development, unfortunately, should pay their fair share. That being said, the city is under an outrageous amount of constraints right now in that we have to supply a certain number of homes that have to get built by a very specific time period, or we lose control as to where they can go.
Right.
And that is terrifying to me, because already we know that a centralized thinking doesn't always work for our region. So I would like to see the city make very specific plans as to what types of businesses can go into these areas, so that we encourage people to use these areas and spaces on the ground. And in some ways, now I actually live next to Coronation Park, and I know the towers are going up, and I'm not thrilled in terms of having towers next to my home. But I'm hopeful that the spaces between the towers, like a tower will will prevent urban sprawl as far as I'm concerned, because it means that it's moving up, and it means that the area down there is still useful for us. And as long as the businesses that go in are useful for the people who live in Port Moody now and in the future, then it can be workable. But we need to make sure that everybody understands, and that the city does work to making sure that these are actual businesses that people use. And I think that's community building.
Do you feel safe in Port Moody?
In terms of whether or not the people that are around us are safe, I know that things are changing, and I know that people are losing their homes and they're ending up without homes. I think I feel safe. I walk out, I'm a walker, I walk 10 kilometers a day, and I'm walking around Inlet Center in the evenings all the time by myself.
So it's a pretty safe city. You're feeling you feel comfortable living here. You feel like the crime's low. There's not a lot going on in that regard.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's talk about your walking and 10K. Port Moody prides itself on its parks, its trails, and the environment, of course. How would you protect and enhance these community assets?
I think I would protect and enhance these community assets by making sure that all of the parks get the same equal treatment. I really am on board with the strategy that the Parks Department has had to try to create parks in all areas. So again, people can walk to their park and it's safe. What I would like to see, though, is that these small community parks also have amenities. I think that they need to have water fountains. They also need to have bathrooms because, again, we don't want only one park to be the only place to go to. I want people to be able to walk to the park. When I grew up, I walked to my neighborhood park.
Right.
And not everybody lives in a walkable distance from Rocky Point. So I would like to see these parks given the same amount of attention, if possible.
And so what would you say your leadership style is like, and what could you bring to council?
I'm a writer, so I'm fairly strong at creating a picture. So what I like to do, and when I was directing, what I like to do is I create a picture. I get people on board and say, this is the story for this picture, so this is what we should do. And then I seek expertise. And I know that staff has a lot of expertise in this area, so I think what we need to do is use everybody's expertise and make sure that these visions come real.
And so I'm hearing sometimes people feel a little bit disconnected from municipal politics. How would you improve transparency and public engagement?
I think that we owe our community to participate. So what I mean by that is when we ask community members to participate in committees, I would really like to see that they see the effects of their work.
Right.
And find a way to actually feel as though they're making a difference. And when the people have an ability to make a difference within their community, there's buy-in, and it becomes a stronger community. And so that's, I think, where we need to work on. When we ask people to volunteer, do they actually get to volunteer for things that might be a little more interesting for their mindset or for their ability? Let's see where we can open that up as well.
What's one thing about Port Moody that you absolutely love?
Can I say people?
You can say people.
I actually absolutely love the fact that I can go for a walk from my home near Eagle Ridge Hospital all the way down St. John's, and I will see at least 15 people that I know. Okay, and everyone wants to stop and smile. If you give them a smile, they give a smile back. So the community is there. And I feel that is something that we have. I mean, I love the parks, and I love the way that the sky looks over the water, but the people are what make the community.
Right. It is a beautiful city. Tell voters something about you that they may not know.
I'm a problem solver. I don't like to look at adversity and say, oh, well, let's not try this. I try to look for something. I look for an in and see if we can break the nut. And it's small bits. You know, if I can't completely solve the problem, I want to make sure the breadcrumbs are there so that other people can solve the problem after me, because we can move forward together.
Right. Why should residents vote for you, Tracey?
Residents should vote for me because I'm a terrible liar. Okay? And so if I say something, I mean that I will do it. And I want people to know that they can approach me and they can talk to me, and I will do what I can. And that's why they should vote for me.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's fantastic. Great little snapshot about who Tracey is. Today you're listening to Tracey Schaeffer. She is running for the position of City Council in Port Moody. She believes in a 15-minute city. If you want to know what that is, you should watch the video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm Cathy Cena, Tri-Cities Community Television.